it can lead to a diminishing or an impairment of our lifestyle. So for that reason, poor nutrition can play a role in endangering our eyesight, because junk food and excessively processed foods can cause chronic inflammation within our systems, which can harm major organs as well as blood and blood vessels. We know that a lot of the problems we have with our blood and blood vessels come from some of the items that are in our diet. So for that reason, good nutrition has many ways in which it contributes to our good health, and that, of course, also will include the health of our eyes. Then the next item that can endanger our eyes and eyesight is harsh light. So habitual exposure to harsh glaring light can diminish our eyesight or can contribute to cataract and migraine. So migraines are those types of headaches that feel like they are throbbing, and they are also linked to other problems, including they can make the eyes very sensitive to light. Cataracts are closely linked to insulin resistance and diabetic issues, and these can also lead to the eyesight becoming cloudy, and eventually we can lose our eyesight. So we should take care that we get good light, but not a harsh glare. Also, we should not be in the habit of sleeping with lights on, because getting in the habit of sleeping with lights on can contribute to increasing the risk of our eyesight deterioration. So for that reason, as parents, we should try to train our children from early to sleep in as much darkness as we can provide, because darkness is actually supposed to help with the quality of our sleep. Then, as I've just mentioned, another thing that we need that endangers our eyes and eyesight is issues to do with insulin resistance, diabetes, and pre-diabetes. Remember when we spoke about insulin resistance, we say that it is a problematic condition that manifests itself in many ways. One of the ways in which insulin resistance manifests itself will be, of course, pre-diabetes and diabetes. But in addition to that, there can be things like high blood pressure. There can also be things like cataracts, which are linked to these metabolic issues. So it is recognized that diabetes, pre-diabetes are among the leading causes of eyesight impairment and blindness. In fact, it is known that one of the worst complications of diabetes is the damage it does to the retina. As I say, the retina is that part of the eye that contains the light receptor cells. So if they are damaged, then of course our ability to see will also be damaged. So these cells, the photoreceptor cells in the retina, they receive, they organize and send visual signals to the optic nerve and then on to the brain. So the signals that are received by the cells in the retina will be sent through the optic nerve to the brain. However, diabetes is also linked to deteriorating vision that occurs in a condition known as glaucoma, where there is a pressure buildup in the eye. Remember, the eye contains viscous fluids, and if there is pressure, then it can affect the quality of our eyesight. So for that reason, one more important reason to resolve our issues of diabetes or pre-diabetes, if we have a familial history or we've got issues that we are aware of to do with sugar metabolism, we should use the supplements that Neolife provides, together with the education on the lifestyle that we should employ in order to resolve diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes. Of course, we can also, with the help of our medical practitioner, find out the lifestyle to be able to keep our type 1 diabetes under control. Then the other illness that actually contributes to damage to the eyesight is high blood pressure. So high blood pressure leads to damage to blood vessels that supply the eyes. And when these blood vessels are damaged, what happens is that fluid from the blood vessels, part of the blood fluids, will start leaking into the eye. And what will happen then is that the eyesight is going to be damaged, because blood is always supposed to stay within the blood vessels. When the blood vessels are damaged and you start having leakage, then you tend to start noticing problems to do with the quality of our eyesight. Then again, when we have high blood pressure, is another cause of glaucoma, which is that pressure buildup within the eye that also damages the eyesight. So in addition to that, high blood pressure will also contribute to damage to the optic nerve, which is a nerve that transmits the light signals from the retina to the brain. If this nerve is affected by things like diabetes, leakage of blood from damaged blood vessels, then we'll find that the nerve will not be able to transmit those visual messages accurately to the brain, and this will lead to vision loss. We also know that high blood pressure is linked to strokes, which, due to the close association between the brain and the eyes, strokes can also leave us with a vision impairment. So again, another condition, high blood pressure, which we should do our best to resolve through our lifestyle and our nutritional supplements that help the body to resolve that issue. The other item I had in mind was eye strain. So sometimes we may spend prolonged period of work, maybe focusing on what we are doing. Maybe it can be on a screen or on machinery. And this means that we are looking at the same spot for a very long time. So let us say, for example, I might be reading on a screen, or I might be someone who uses very refined machinery. Then it is important to take breaks so that the eye is not focused for a very long time on this type of work, because the lens in our eye, which is the one of the part of the eye that help in bringing light to the retina, is supposed to be flexible so that we can see when we are looking into the distance and also when we are looking far. But if the lens becomes less flexible as a result of the muscles that control it being continuously tensed in order to focus on a close item, then we may find that progressively our eyesight is strained and our eyesight starts being not as good as it should be. So frequent and prolonged strain on our eyes can cause deterioration in our eyesight. And so for that reason, if we have that type of work, we should make a habit of every so often looking up away from the work. This helps our eyes to relax. So our work requires that we look at something very close, then we look away and look into the distance. It allows the muscles that control the lens to relax, and that way take a break from the strain of focus. I think we're also aware that some screens produce certain types of light that can harm our eyesight. So we should have blue light filters on our screens so as to protect our eyes from that. And if we spend prolonged periods in glaring sunlight, then it would be a good practice to wear a hat with a brim so that it casts a shadow over our eyes and reduces the glare from sunlight. The last but one item is makeup. The use of makeup, for example, things like mascara and eyeliner, false eyelashes, and so on, can be problematic, especially if they are not properly cleansed. And this is because they interfere with the glands that I mentioned that are in our eyelids that produce tears to cleanse our eyes and produce oil to lubricate our eyes. By using some of these types of items, we may find that we are interfering with the correct functioning of our eye and thereby harming our eyesight. Things like environmental allergens can also irritate our eyes. So as much as possible, if we tend to get irritation in our eyes when we are exposed to dust or pollen, then I think I mentioned in one of the Q&As that it's a good habit to rinse the eyes maybe 2 or 3 times a day so as to remove the items that might be triggering the eye irritation. Then finally, of course, we should protect our eyes from physical injury. Let us say if we work, maybe we work with certain machinery, like in DIY or such things, then we should wear goggles that will protect our eyes from physical damage. If we are working with certain chemicals as well, we should not only wear gloves, but at the same time protect our eyes by wearing the suitable eye cover. So then, with those points about how we can endanger our eyesight, I hope that it's quite clear. So some of them are conditions that result from our lifestyle. Some of them can be maybe items that we use that can endanger our eyes. But on the near life side, we do have products that contribute very well to the health of our eyesight. And I think that as we go through life, it is important to ensure that these items are in our supplementation because, of course, we do not know at what point we might be starting to deteriorate our eyesight, because some of the deterioration might have a genetic component. We may inherit certain predispositions, while others may be related to our lifestyle and our occupation. So the first supplement I would recommend would be omega-3 plus, which helps to prevent and resolve inflammation as well as dry eyes. Remember, we say that we have got glands in the eyes that are supposed to produce oil to lubricate our eyes. So omega-3 will contribute to that. Omega-3 also is involved in the making of the tissue of the eye, and also it helps to improve the health of our blood and blood vessels. So in that way, it is an important component of our eye health supplements. The next one will be carotenoid complex, which protects the eyes from free radical attacks and also retards macular degeneration, which macular degeneration is one of the conditions where the eyesight becomes progressively blurred and eventually is one of the causes of blindness. So carotenoid complex will be very helpful there. It is also quite helpful with cataracts. So if you have a familial tendency towards cataracts or you have noticed a blurring in vision, it is very important that you have carotenoid complex in your supplementation program. Remember, both omega-3 plus and carotenoid complex are found in ProVitality. So if you're taking ProVitality, you'll already have these two, plus multi and TreeNN. Then the third product I'll recommend for eye health will be vitamin B complex, which protects also from macular degeneration as well as cataracts. So vitamin B complex, also very important for our eye health. The next, I have chelated zinc, which helps with the healing of internal wounds, as well as facilitating the working of the other supplements. So chelated zinc will be very important if maybe because we tend to have allergies, we keep on rubbing our eyes and scratching our eyes, then chelated zinc is going to help here. And also, if we have started having some deterioration in our eyesight, it will be of use. The next would be vitamin A plus D, very important to help us against night blindness and also to repair eye strain. If we have been straining our eyes, maybe children who are studying for exams and spending long periods of time straining their eyes in their studies, then we need to ensure that they're supplementing with vitamin A plus D and also getting sun exposure to ensure that they have enough of the D vitamins. Then the last item will be vitamin C, which is also an antioxidant, and it will help in maintaining healthy eye tissue. Remember, as I said, that the eyes are always exposed to all kinds of things, which means that they need antioxidant protection from all the free radicals that are in our environment. So if you've got allergies, if you've got issues to do with eye strain and so on, vitamin C is quite useful for as an antioxidant, working hand in hand with carotenoid complex and the others. So those are the supplements that I wanted to specifically speak about that will assist us in eye health. Then the last section of my presentation for today is just a few pointers on how to support our eye health. So the first will, of course, be to include foods that help with eye health in our diet. So pink fish, so things like salmon, shrimps, crayfish, are very useful because they contain nutrients that support eye health and the making of healthy eye tissue. Also, egg yolks. So when we eat eggs, we should eat egg yolks as well. Sweet potatoes also contain those yellow and pink nutrients. And in addition to that, spinach and carrots are all foods that we should add in our diet that is supporting eye health. Healthy fats such as ghee, such as avocado and olive oil, these healthy fats are also important for healthy eye tissue. So we should include those in our diet as much as we are able. And the next point will be spending time in the sun between 1 to 3 hours would be good. This is especially important for children and adolescents in order to avoid the possibility of short sight. In fact, there was a research that was done in, I believe it was Singapore, where they realized that if the children were sitting close to the chalkboard, they tended to develop, for a long period, they tended to develop short sight. But they rectified it by allowing children to spend time outside and to not do so much focused work or focusing for long periods on short distances. And they found that this actually dramatically reduced the amount of the need for glasses in little children. So for that reason, exposure to sunshine, we already mentioned the supplementation with vitamin A plus D, but also exposure to sunshine so that the children's eyes can spend enough periods looking into the horizon and long distances so as to allow the eye muscles to relax is a good way to support eye health, especially in the younger members of our population. Next would be to eliminate sugar, because as we've seen, sugar issues are contributors to diabetes, etc., but also of diminished eyesight. So we can remove those. We can remove any excessively processed foods and junk foods from the diet, keep them at a minimum, only maybe using them very occasionally in order to avoid the inflammation that they drive. Then when reading, take eye breaks to look around and away from your work so as to rest and relax the eyes. And then finally, keep an eye test chart. You can keep this especially if maybe you have a familial issue of eyesight. You can buy from a bookshop those eye test charts and keep them so as to monitor changes in your eyesight periodically, just to be able to catch the issues early if something is going wrong. So I think that was what I wanted to share with you this evening about our eye health. I hope that the session has been useful, especially in identifying some of these products that will be very important for eye health. We can recommend them for parents of school-going children. We can use them ourselves. We can also create awareness about how some of these illnesses that we talk about, for example, the different types of diabetes as well as high blood pressure, how they actually have got effects on our eyesight and other organs, and how they are the ones driving a lot of the health issues that we are seeing in our communities. So apart from leading to things like chronic kidney disease and heart issues, they also are contributors to diminishing eyesight. So I think that with that, for this evening, I want to thank you very much for having spent the time and your data to be part of today's training. As always, I would like to wish you all the best as you go forward, because in the course of doing our business, we are making an important difference in people's lives. Many of the things that we assist with are things that only by our education and our supplements we can create the awareness and give the assistance to people. So now Pascal will be standing by to take you through the next part of today's session. Thank you very much, and looking forward to meeting you again next week, in which we'll be doing a Q&A, so feel free to send any questions that you may have. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you very much, Betty. I think it's